Hello, everyone. Welcome. We will have some of Missouri's top high school basketball talent on display from the MFA Breaktime Shootout. Also, Kim Anderson and his young Tiger team go through some more growing pains over the weekend, and we take you inside the mind of a referee when he's faced with those tough calls. All this and more coming up. Sports Extra with Chris Gervino.
Really disappointing loss. So.
Well, a tough season certainly so far for Missouri Tiger men's basketball coach Kim Anderson. A hard-fought SEC contest between his Tigers and the Tennessee Volunteers Saturday at Mizzou Arena. Missouri looking to bounce back from that lopsided loss at Kentucky. And both teams really struggled early on shooting the ball. Wes Clark misses for Missouri. Devin Bachman misses for Tennessee. But finally, someone found a range from three-point land. Keith Schamberger knocking it down. And the Tigers had their first lead of the ball game, 13-12. Derek Reese then to Armani Moore for the bucket. Moore had a double-double, points and rebounds, 16 and 11. Tennessee by 2 at halftime. Second half, Clark a three ball to give Missouri a 1-point lead with about 6 minutes to play. And then it's Kevin Punter from State Fair Community College in Sedalia making the shot from the corner that tied the ball game up at 46. And Tennessee takes control down the stretch. The Tigers turn the ball over on 3 consecutive possessions. Tennessee getting it done here. Reese inside tips it in. The Vols made 7 of their 8 final free throws, and Coach Kim Anderson had to watch his team lose a tough one, 59-51.
Game, I think that we had an opportunity to win. We fought back. Had struggled early, couldn't make shots.
We didn't really have a good shooting night, so we weren't really hitting any shots early. So I think if we would have hit some shots, it would have, loosened up the zone a little bit.
Young team, and I'm tired of saying it, to be honest with you, but all we can do is keep trying to learn from it and try to get better and try to understand it when you're in these situations, how to react and what you need to do. And we didn't do it.
The Tigers visit Texas A&M Wednesday night. Meanwhile, the Mizzou women battled #1 ranked South Carolina to a close contest last Thursday night. The Tigers fell just short of a major upset. Today they played at Arkansas against the Razorbacks. Coach Robin Pinchton and her team with just 1 SEC win so far. Arkansas didn't even have one yet. Tigers off to a good start. Maddie Stock, why not? Way outside, that's what the team does, shoots the 3-ball. Tigers had a 3-point lead, but then the Razorbacks get rolling. McKinley Bostad hits a 3. She had 15 points. The former broadcaster, Jimmy Dykes, back in the coaching ranks as the Arkansas head women's basketball coach. Here, Callie Berna lays it in. Arkansas stretching its lead to 11. And then the next possession, Kelsey Brooks on the dribble drive. She scores 2 of her game-high 21. Tigers tried to come back second half. It's a brief Fowler to Sierra Michaelis, 2 of her 12, but not nearly enough. Razorbacks win handily, 73-55. The third-ranked Missouri wrestling team looked to remain unbeaten in dual meets with today's match against the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Hickman graduate Jaden Cox and the unbeaten Mizzou wrestlers taking on North Carolina State in a dual meet. Mizzou up 9-0 when Drake Hatteschelt, ranked #2 at 149 pounds, gets the takedown and the 3-point near fall. He won 11-2, 13 zip the lead. NC State battling back though. Max Roscoff back and forth, but Roscoff beats Missouri's Mikey England 5-3 to cut the Tiger team lead to 13-7. But Jaden Cox, #1 at 197 pounds, the defending national champion. Strong move here. He rolls his opponent Michael Boykin and gets the pin, extending the team lead to 26-7. Mizzou wins 29-10. The Tigers are 15-0. Well, joining us now at our hot seat, it's Matt Michaels of KTGR Radio. Matt, it is great to have you with us. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Always enjoy your appearances here. And the Missouri men's basketball team, we were They're together at the ball game Saturday, seated next to each other in the press section in a competitive game, but in the end, a tough result for the Tigers.
Well, and this is one that Kim Anderson seemed afterwards to be really upset about. You have the lead with 6 or so minutes left. You're on a roll. You get a 3-point edge. And then who else but the guy who was once committed to Missouri, Kevin Punter, and now he's on Tennessee, and he's making the 3 to tie the game. And the Vols just rolled from there. You know, execution at the very end. The Volunteers had that zone working all afternoon and evening long, but then especially at the end, they hedged that zone out high and they ran a trap right near the timeline, and the Tigers turned it over 3 times into it, and that was basically the end of the game. We saw some good things, but not enough. I mean, 8 threes made is good, but you shoot 22, 23 of them, so the percentage isn't that high. In fact, I think they shot the exact same percentage from the field overall as they did from three-point land. You know, it just kind of one of those symptoms of a young team. Young teams find it hard to win games like that. The Tigers are one of those, and barring any sort of supernatural appearance by anybody, sometimes that's what you get.
Those 3 turnovers late in the game really doomed the Tigers. Those were the difference, it seemed.
And I think that's what Coach Anderson was referring to as much as anything else. And he's been frustrated. I think, you know, he's pretty truthful with us on a day-to-day basis, but if you got him in a moment of weakness, he wouldn't exactly have expected the season to go the way it would in terms of what mistakes are happening at this time of the year. It's conference play, and remember, he's coming off of a national championship season at Central Missouri, and you see mistakes like not recognizing that full court pressure and the trap at the half court line and turning it over 3 times. Not having the presence of mind to feed Jonathan Williams III more inside. He only had 1 field goal attempt in the second half, where he had 8 points at halftime, and it looked like he was going to start rolling. Never could at the end. Now, credit Tennessee for that zone defense and being able to shut off lanes, but we saw it with Kentucky at times, and now we see it with Tennessee. You know, zone defense for a young team, you got to have tic-tac-toe crisp passing to get through it. The Tigers didn't on Saturday. You have to live and learn and turn around quickly against a Texas A&M team on Wednesday that isn't going to be any slouch.
I was going to say A&M is improving. You talk about improving teams. They beat LSU. They took Kentucky into overtime, of course, double overtime, in fact, just a week or so ago. So that's a tough road test for Missouri. Then Arkansas comes here Saturday.
And Arkansas is going to be a game that everybody's amped up for. I think you have to give Missouri fans a lot of credit. Getting 10,000 people out at Mizzou Arena for attendance. There weren't too many students in the stands. I think that is really a win for the Tiger fan base to buy into this team and what they're doing, and I really think they are, you know, for a sub-500 team. Let's be honest, still learning. If they can get to 500 in the SEC by the time it's all said and done, probably going to be a successful season, just the way we see things trending. But you never know. If Keanu Post can continue his production inside, there's going to be some more success for this team down the road. If Keith Schamberger suddenly turns it on in his senior season, or we see one of the freshmen step up between Gil Caesar, Wright was the high scorer on Saturday, there's a shot for these Tigers to make a run at the end of the year. But the little things and the little mistakes are what's killing them right now.
Welcome back, everyone. What a day of basketball, the 22nd annual MFA Oil Break Time Shootout at Mizzou Arena. A pair of overtime games, including the Father Tolton Catholic Trailblazers against the Vianney Golden Griffins. Tolton's talented sophomore Michael Porter Jr. showed off his skills. Here, the steal and the breakaway slam dunk. Then how about the assist to Cameron Bagley for 2? And defensively, the rejection. Porter had 23 points. Tolton led by as many as 18 in the first half, but Vianney answered with its own skilled big man. Freshman Cartier Gordon, a 9th grader, coast to coast. And then look at this guy, strong, down low, good post moves. He had 27 points and 12 rebounds. Vianney all the way back to tie the game with 5 seconds to go. Kevin Walsh tries to drop a winning play, but the Golden Griffins turn it over. So Tolton gets a chance to win it. Michael Porter Jr. just short. It went to overtime. Ball game tied at 75. Vianney's Nick Thomas late in the game tries a three, but is fouled with .9 seconds to go. The outstanding local official, Chad Green, on the call. And after he missed the first free throw, Thomas makes the second. Then he would miss the third intentionally to avoid Tolton having time to collect and get the shot off. Trailblazers couldn't. And Vianney all the way back from 18 down, 13 down at halftime for the win. 76-75, just Tolton's second loss of the season. Jefferson City and Pacific in another close one. There's Coach Kim Anderson of the Tigers looking at his future Tiger, Cullen Van Leer. What a display he put on tonight for Pacific. 32 points and 10 rebounds for the Missouri signee. O.J. Anunoby is headed to play for the Indiana Hoosiers. The Jays are glad he's with them now. He had the bucket there, and then look out below. There's the slam dunk. He had 23 points and 7 rebounds. This was a tight contest as well. Cullen Van Leer here with a chance late. Didn't get it. Anunoby heaves it the other way. And this one went to overtime. And look at the ball movement there. The nice pass to Van Leer. Cullen and his brother Cameron both start for this basketball team for Pacific. Their dad, John, is the head coach. There's Anunoby off target there. And Pacific wins it 61-55 in overtime over the Jaybirds. Salisbury and Sacred Heart, the last two state champs in Class 2, squaring off this afternoon. Brady Francis the layup, and then passing to Daniel Linneman. Salisbury by 7 points at halftime. But Stephen Goodwin and his Sacred Heart Gremlins from Sedalia don't go away. Charlie went inside, lays it in. Close contest, but Salisbury too much in the end. Francis would hit from out top. He had 7. Salisbury wins 58-47 to improve to 15-0. Iberia and Fatima tonight at Mizzou Arena. Fatima came out hot. Will Robertson with the pass to Jared Schulte for the long ball. And the Fatima Comets kept it going. Robertson drives and finishes it himself. Iberia, though, battled back. Of course, the Rangers had a great season last year. And the big fella inside, Dexter Frisbee, lays in 2 of his 29. The Rangers beat Fatima 62-56 to improve to 13-1. How about a battle of Bulldogs for Harrisburg and Sturgeon? Brendan Gray with a 3-ball, and Harrisburg jumps out to the early lead, but Sturgeon responds. Tanner Sanker with a nifty move to the basket, and he lays it up and in off the glass. He had 23 points. Sturgeon by a dozen at halftime. Then Lorenzo Chisholm gets to the lane, floats it up and in, and Sturgeon moving the ball well against Harrisburg coach Steve Combs and his Bulldogs. There's a 3 for Chance Wells. Sturgeon wins it 68-58. The Versailles Tigers against Ellsbury. Versailles leading scorer Trey Woods didn't play because of a broken finger, but his teammate Michael Allen had a big day. He missed it, but then got it back and left no doubt about it. Ellsbury not going anywhere, though. Therese Blair into Logan Anthony for 2. But Michael Allen with a big game for the Versailles Tigers, 21 points and 17 rebounds. This was a tight contest, but late in the game, Versailles gets it inside. Elijah Bench is open there for 2, and Versailles wins it 50-45. What a day of high school hoops. Meanwhile, the NFC Championship game featured the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers. Former Mizzou star Justin Britt started every game at right tackle for the Seahawks this season until today. He missed today's game with an injured knee, but the Seahawks had to play without him. Russell Wilson against the Packers and Aaron Rodgers late fourth quarter. 19-7 Green Bay looking for an upset, but then Wilson keeps it and scores. It's 19-14. The Seahawks then with about 2 minutes to play get the onside kick. It goes right through a Packer player's hands. The Seahawks recover, and wouldn't you know, they take the ball and they go right downfield. Marshawn Lynch, 24 yards for the touchdown to put Seattle up for the first time all day at 20-19. They would go for 2, and check this out. Wilson rolls right, scrambles, fights for survival, and that ball in the air for the longest time comes down to Luke Wilson for 2. But Green Bay not done yet. They come downfield. Mason Crosby boots a field goal to tie it. It's good from 48 yards. It went to OT, tied at 28-22. Seattle got the ball first, and Wilson to Jermaine Kearse for the game winner. 35 yards. The Seahawks rally back in monumental fashion, and they go back to the Super Bowl 28-22. So who would they play? Well, the AFC champ. That would be either the New England Patriots or the Indianapolis Colts. Pats early on, running the football with LeGarrette Blount for the touchdown, 7-zip in favor of New England. Second quarter, 14-zip when Indy gets on the board. Zulon Tipton scores. It's 14-7, but really the Patriots in command of this one. There's Brady to the former Colorado tackle. Nate Solder, offensive lineman who's eligible on that play, scores 24-7. Patriots, and they just continue to pour it on. Brady to Rob Gronkowski for a score, 31-7. New England not nearly finished yet. LeGarrette Blount with a run here, 2 yards, 45-7. New England. Tough day for Andrew Luck and the Colts. Luck picked off a couple of times. Jamie Collins here gets the interception. New England wins at 45-7, heads to the Super Bowl for the 8th time, tying the Patriots with the Steelers and Cowboys for most NFL Super Bowl appearances. Brady headed to a record 6th Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. Welcome back to our hot seat. Matt Michaels of KTGR Radio. We talked Tiger basketball earlier. Let's talk about a Tiger team that is just having an incredible year. Doesn't get the publicity, obviously, of football and men's basketball. No other sports do. But the Tiger wrestling team, under the direction of Brian Smith, wow, another victory today over NC State. Team hadn't lost a dual meet.
Yeah, they haven't lost a dual meet all season long. They've been top 5 for the better portion, if not all of the season. And just going to the meets, I went to the one against Central Michigan on Saturday, and you have the introduction of the bout card of the day. And you hear Central Michigan introduced, and now for Central Michigan, redshirt freshman, I don't know. And then you have Missouri, and it's number 6 in the country. Number 1 in the country, number 5 in the country. So many top 10 wrestlers on this squad, which is why you have the ranking you do. And Brian Smith, I mean, if you think about it, it's been, what, 17 or 18 years now in building a program up from, you know, some success at times in the old Big 8 and Big 12 to now the levels of success where he said to me on the big show last week, you know, people are coming out at some of these other meets where we go on the road and they're packing it because they want to see what Missouri's doing so well. And Tiger Style Wrestling is a brand. It's well known. You can trace it back to the Askrens if you want. You can trace it back even further if you want to do that. But you know, what they've got going right now is such a fantastic thing, and they have a real shot to go to St. Louis in March and win a national championship. And we haven't been able to say that for many Missouri teams in recent years, maybe softball and that's it, to have a real shot to take it all home. The Tigers have that chance, and it's not just Jaden Cox, it's not just Drake Howdeshelt, it's up and down their roster. They've got some guys who can really grapple this year.
We mentioned Jaden Cox, the Hickman graduate. He's number 1 in the country at 197. Drake Howdeshelt is number 2 at 149. Alan Waters is number 1, of course, as well. So they have really got a lineup up and down now, consistency. Those are just a few of the guys who are ranked.
Yeah, Joey LaValle's wrestling great. Mikey England. Le'Veon Mays just lost his first match of the year against Central Michigan, and it was really close late for Le'Veon. He came back and won today. They're going to have a chance to carry this run through, and they've got a meat grinder schedule, and they have all season long, Chris. They wrestled 2 dual meets this weekend. They'll be home through the end of the month. I think folks should get out there and see it because there's not going to be really many chances aside from the national dual meets, the one against American, and then the MAC Conference Championship coming up at Mizzou Arena a little bit later on in the year. But your chances to see these guys are dwindling, and it really is a lot of fun.
The next chance is Friday night against Oklahoma State, a pretty good wrestling school in its own right over the years.
That should be pretty packed, I think.
Yes. Matt, thanks very much for coming out tonight.
Of course, Chris. Thanks.
Matt Michaels of KTGR Radio. Now it's time for tonight's trivia. Welcome back. Referees, some folks love them, some folks hate them, but we could not have college football without them. And what good does hate do anyway? But what actually goes through a referee's head as he makes a call? What do referees do when they're not officiating? KOMU 8's Anders Arhus sat down with Columbia's own SEC football referee to find out.
You've probably never seen Matt Moore at his regular job, where he works here as an executive vice president for Shelter Insurance. But if you've watched an SEC football game in the past 16 years, you've probably seen him here.
Matt Moore is our referee tonight.
I'm the one that wear the white hat, the good guy, I always tell him, and I wear the mic and do all the announcements and all the penalty enforcements, all that.
Moore's dad was a referee, and Moore says he himself has always had a passion for refereeing. He started working YMCA and Pee Wee games when he was still in college, working his way up through high school and Division II, before finally getting his break with the SEC 16 years ago.
When Bobby Gaston, who was our supervisor, came to me and he said, okay, I'm getting ready to take you in and I'm going to put you at side judge. Can you work side judge? Yes, sir, I can work side judge. So I became a side judge.
6 years ago, the SEC promoted Moore to the position of referee, better known as the guy you boo when your team gets called for a penalty.
Dead ball, personal foul with targeting, number 19 of the defense.
What we always say in the SEC is that all the games are big. You mess something up and you'll find out how big it is.
Moore's worked plenty of big games during his SEC career, including this year's Mississippi State-Alabama matchup, back when the Bulldogs were ranked #1 in the country. He was also the crew chief for this year's Ole Miss-Texas A&M game at Kyle Field, the home of the infamous 12th man.
A lot of times people like to talk about crowds swaying a call or something like that. You don't ever feel like that's happened to you or your crew or anything like that?
You know, you hear people say that, and people probably don't believe this, but really and truly, I don't hear the crowd. I mean, you'll hear the roar or the but I don't pay attention to that, and a lot of times I can't even tell you what the score of a game is.
But that doesn't mean the calls are easy. One of the most controversial rules of the last 2 years has been the targeting rule. One Moore says was a bad rule when it was first put into place, but has become effective thanks to the option of using replay to make the call. Moore likes replay and says it actually helps officials get the call right, which was always the goal for Moore and his crew.
Our reputation is on the line, and that was very, very important to me. And so I always took that very seriously.
But Moore won't be on the field week 1 of next season. He's finally decided to step away from his weekend job. As for the legacy he hopes he's leaving behind,
While you might have yelled at me, you might not have known who I was. And if I can get through a game and do that, and we've worked a good game.
Matt Moore, a name you probably never remembered. And that's just the way he likes it.
Pass interference, 27 of the defense.
Anders Arhus, KOMU 8 Sports, Columbia.
Anders, thank you very much. Very interesting. If you saw the list of games Matt Moore worked this year, you'd realize he was clearly considered by the SEC as one of its top referees. The one place you would not see him working, though, was at Faurot Field this season because Matt lives in Columbia and because his company is a partner of Mizzou Athletics. Moore asked to not work Missouri games. Integrity to the end, just like a referee, right? All right, look now at our trivia question once again. We'll have the answer for you when we come back with our final segments. Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Extra with Chris Trevino. I'm Chris. Now let's check our sports trivia question. Earlier in our program tonight, we asked you who the last team to win back-to-back Super Bowls was. Did you know the answer? Well, here it is. The New England Patriots. They won Super Bowls 38 and 39, and they will play in Super Bowl 49 in 2 weeks right here on good old Channel 8 against the Seattle Seahawks as the Seahawks look to win back-to-back Super Bowls. Of course, Seattle demolished Denver a year ago, and now the Seahawks will play out in Arizona against the New England Patriots. Super Bowl 49 coming up 2 weeks right here on Channel 8. Folks, that is our time for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. We appreciate it. Kai Bright producing tonight with Jen McMillan and Justin Ackerman, our director. I'm Chris Trevino. So long, everybody.